Is this the face of the real patient zero? How about this? We now know COVID-19 is a zoonotic disease. A virus jumped from an animal to humans. And while we're still unsure which animal might be the culprit, there are over 200 known zoonotic diseases to contend with. But are any of them deadlier than COVID-19? You better wash your hands before you bite those nails. Here's the top 5 deadliest zoonotic diseases. Number 5, COVID-19. Introduced to humans by an unknown animal, COVID-19 has brought the world to its knees. Humans are now passing this zoonotic disease to other mammals. The highly contagious COVID-19 virus has an affinity for cells with an enzyme called ACE2, found on the surface of human throat and lung cells. Other mammals also have the same enzyme, putting them at risk of infection. Cats, dogs, and gorillas could potentially catch COVID-19 from you. A pathogen like COVID-19 depends on keeping its infected host alive for it to continue spreading. It is expected to become an endemic disease, meaning some global regions will see a decline in cases. Despite its alarming death toll, approximately 340 million people have recovered from COVID-19. Number 4, HIV/AIDS. The HIV virus responsible for acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, was spread to humans from chimpanzees, most likely because some of us were hunting and eating them. Once it found its new host home, the virus mutated into a strain unique to us. While some viruses persist by hiding and confusing our immune cells, the HIV virus has a more offensive strategy. It succeeds by rapidly destroying immune cells, leaving the body vulnerable to diseases that might otherwise be treatable. Passed on through the exchange of bodily fluids, HIV virus mutation rates are faster than any known virus. Today, vaccine trials are underway, and antiretroviral therapy, ART, are helping people to prevent and manage the virus better. Number 3, zoonotic influenza. The H1N1 influenza was initially spread from birds in 1918 and claimed 50 million lives in 2 years. This makes it the deadliest disease ever in terms of death rate. Much of this had to do with the outbreak starting during the early stages of World War I. Millions of civilians and troops traveling between the US, England, France, and Spain carried the virus with them. And quarantining people during a war was borderline impossible. All of this was complicated by medical professionals already being overwhelmed and difficulties getting the word out about safety measures in a pre-internet world. In 2009, H1N1 influenza was back. This time, we caught it from pigs, with 575,400 casualties as a result. Number 2, bubonic plague or Black Death. Sweeping across Europe, Northern Africa, and Asia, the Black Death wiped out nearly a quarter of the world's population in the 14th century. Victims experienced fever, chills, and in extreme cases, a painful swelling of the lymph nodes. The Yersinia pestis bacterium infects humans by hitching a ride on fleas that bite infected rodents. But it wasn't started by a rat infestation in Europe, as was the long-standing theory. New research has revealed that a likely culprit was global warming. Flea populations rose dramatically in response to rising temperatures in Central Asia in the 14th century. They carried the plague through the trade routes into Europe and Africa. The bubonic plague stuck around, surfacing periodically across Europe for another 300 years. It disappeared completely somewhere between 1665 and 1666 after the Great Plague of London. And number 1, malaria. At the top of the list is a disease that just won't quit. Malaria has likely been around since 1550 BCE, with ancient Egyptians recording the earliest symptoms of fever. Mosquitoes carry some 156 species of the malaria to birds, reptiles, and simians. Though traces of the simian version have been found in humans, we have our own dedicated strains of malaria to deal with. The malaria parasite uses mosquitoes to find its next victim. When a vector mosquito bites a human, the parasites replicate asexually. But some will reproduce sexually. These eventually attach themselves to the next mosquito that bites the infected human. And so the cycle continues. Once infected with malaria, your body odor changes to attract even more mosquitoes. Wow, that is one messed up disease. Encroaching on natural habitats and living in close proximity to animals increases your chances of catching a zoonotic disease. Before you give up on all interactions with them, you might like to meet a few that have the cure to some of our biggest diseases. Right here on Crazy Creatures.